General Seltzer, who is the Adjutant General for the National Guard here in the state of Texas. We will soon be joined by Colonel Steve McCraw, who is the Director of the Texas Department of Public Safety. We're here today because of the impending end of Title 42 policy. With the Biden administration ending Title 42 this Thursday, President Biden is laying down a welcome mat to people across the entire world, saying that the United States border is wide open and it would lead to an incredible amount of people coming across the border illegally. President Biden's open border policies is going to cause a catastrophic disaster in the United States. According to the Biden administration itself, they anticipate about 13,000 people coming across the border illegally every single day. If you extend that out over the course of a year, it means there will be about 4,700,000 people coming across the border a year. That will mean that there will be more people coming across the border illegally than there are residents of the massive city of Chicago. History of the United States of America to defend our border. That includes deploying up to 10,000 National Guard members and 1,200 Texas Department of Public Safety troopers. I want to thank the National Guard members who are with us here today. I will tell you more about their deployment momentarily. I had access to the United States and Texas by turning back more than 37,000 people who were trying to enter into the country illegally. Together they have apprehended more than 37,000 people who actually did come across the border illegally. In addition to that, they have arrested about 27,000 dangerous criminals, including cartel gang members who were wanted for crimes like murder, getting them off the streets to make sure they would not harm anybody in Texas or the United States. They've also seized enough fentanyl that would have been enough to kill every man, woman, and child in the entire United States of America. Chicago, New York, and around the country. Thousands have been busted already. Many thousands more will be busted in the coming days because of the massive influx of illegal migrants coming across the border. And Texas is the only state to build its own border wall.
Associated Press is identified as 33-year-old Mauricio Garcia. The Associated Press, citing a law enforcement source, reports that federal agents are reviewing Garcia's social media accounts and that some of his posts expressed interest in white supremacist and neo-Nazi views. Garcia had a patch on his chest that read RWDS, which stands for Right Wing Death Squad. Investigators have searched a Dallas motel where Garcia had stayed recently.
I don't want to make this too long, right? But I want to just play that first just to give a little background so you understand, like, a sign of the times that we're in, where you have Mexican people, so-called Hispanic, so-called brown people, so-called Latin people running around with Nazi tattoos, right? And right-wing death squad tattoos, you know, committing, you know, right-wing death squad acts on people. So, you know, and while at the same time you have many of his counterparts coming across the border to the tunes of, you know, hundreds of thousands. And as Greg Abbott said, they're coming to a city near you. And the crazy part about it, a warning for black people, is they're putting these people in your neighborhoods and helping them, giving them, you know, millions of dollars in support. You have to ask yourself, why would Joe Biden, a known KKK Nazi, be allowing all these so-called brown Nazis by the tens of thousands everywhere, putting them in black communities? Now, mind you, black people are voting for him, right? Why would he be allowing this if he, you know, loves you so much, right? He likes you so much, trying to help you, right? See, one thing, the original Nazis weren't Hitler. The original Nazis were actually Ukraine and the Americans. These are the birthplaces of Nazis, of the right wing, so-called. They're all right wing. I mean, it's all the same. White supremacist, anti-black Nazi coalitions. They started in America and Ukraine. So you better pay attention to how things are, busting down and breaking down right now, right? And at the same time, you have Joe Biden, who was a known Nazi, KKK Nazi, right? I believe he eulogized Strom Thurmond, people like that, hung out with these kind of people, were his best friends. He supported segregation for blacks, right? And you got these people moving these, thousands of people into these predominantly black areas. And these people are, obviously anti-black and very hostile and Nazis. And you had to ask yourself, what's going on? What is this all going to culminate and come down to? You know what I mean? And you see it. I mean, I've been through a lot with these people. I've had, I've told the story about what happened to my son. Hispanic man, he kidnapped him, called me a nigger and all kinds of shit. So I've been dealing with this for a long time. My eyes have been open to the threat. The so-called brown, the fake brown coalition is really just a brown threat. And so I've been aware of this for a long time. And, I ain't gonna make this too long, but I think it's self-explanatory, right? The question is, what are you gonna do? Because you knee deep in it now, right? So, and so it's just I think black people should be forewarned. You know what I mean? That don't be fooled by this whole, black brown coalition talk. Don't be fooled, by any of this shit. None of this is what you think. All the Nazis, Vladimir Putin better listen to what he said about Nazis. That's why he don't want these people in his country with their rainbow flags and all that crap, because it all leads to Nazism and right-wing death squads like this tattoo this guy has, this Mexican man, right? Better be careful, because now you're playing with fire and you're walking on thin ice at the same time. Not a good look. You know what I mean? To be juggling fire while you're walking on thin ice, black people. And you're going to wind up in between a rock and a hard place. You should be, if this not a hint and a half for your ass, I don't know what it is. But anyway, I ain't going to make this too long. If it's too, I'm going to say this and I'm going to go. It's way too late in this whole thing now. This whole thing has to play itself out. And if you're not smart enough and strong enough to survive, then you weren't meant to. That's all. Because even Martin Luther King warned you before he died. He told Harry Belafonte, rest in peace, who just died. He said, Harry, I made a mistake. I fear I've integrated my people into a burning house. This is what he was talking about. You were going to be integrated with people like this Mexican man with this Nazi right-wing death squad tattoos. That's what Dr. King was trying to warn you about, but nobody listened. That's all I got.